Dr. Foxx.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being here. I want to associate myself with the comments of the chairman in terms of his comments related to the imposition of rules from Washington, which impose one-size-fits-all attitude. And I think, and my question will reflect that, but you said something in your comments or in answer to a question that I think illustrates that so well. You said there's no reason why they cannot bring a snack. That is up until now, until such time as perhaps the Agriculture Department determines that children can't bring snacks. The attitude is you're allowing them to bring snacks, so that the rulemaking comes from here. It's the permission is being given by Washington. That ought to be freedom of choice. And the attitude that there's no reason means you haven't declared a rule. But let me ask my question about the competitive foods rule, because it goes along with that. You issued a rule in 2013 called the competitive foods rule. You couldn't estimate the cost or the effect on school revenue without any certainty. But you did note that the 247,000 comments which focused on finances, most of them were concerned that the rule would reduce school revenue. Additionally, it's estimated school revenue authorities received on average 16% of their revenue from competitive food sales. So how did you determine the rule was responsible action and requirement from this administration?
Well, first of all, let me clarify my remark involving snacks, if I might. I wasn't suggesting that folks were being allowed to bring snacks. They've always been allowed to bring snacks. There's been no prohibition, and there never will be a prohibition about mom or dad providing the youngster the opportunity to take something to school to snack on. So that ought to be clear. If I didn't make that clear, I should have. Studies of vending machines providing healthier snacks have indicated that there has not been a significant decline in revenue to school districts that have studied this and looked at this. And I would also say what's of interest to me is that we provided $94 million at the beginning of this process for school districts to be able to utilize the money to assist them in better implementation. Today, now 5 years after the passage of that act, there's still $24 million of that resource that has not been spent by schools. And we have encouraged school districts and states where the money has not been spent to encourage the utilization of those resources if schools are suffering or having difficulty. So it is odd to me that we still have $24 million on the table. Hopefully this hearing will allow us to continue to put that information out so that people take advantage of those resources.
You can give me this answer later, but I wonder, have you tried in the Department of Agriculture to put the employees in the Department of Agriculture on the school food lunch program for a week or two to see how they respond to it? I think it would be an interesting experiment. But I have a second question. The USDA's OIG highlighted high rates of improper payments in the National School Lunch and Breakfast Program. They said the lunch program is one of 13 federal high-error programs. I know you and the ranking member talked about the integrity of the program, but what are you doing to address the high error rates, reduce fraudulent benefits, and make sure the programs are serving those most in need?
There are three reasons why we have the error rate that we have, and I think we probably would be in agreement with this committee that it's an unacceptably high rate. There is a certification issue involving parents basically providing information about income that's not necessarily accurate or incomplete. There is an aggregation that takes place at the school district where they basically aggregate all of the information and provide it to the state, that sometimes errors are in that process. And there is an error at the cashier's location when a person goes through the line. A couple of things about this error rate. The dollar amount is a little bit suspect because if you're going through the line and you don't take one item that you're supposed to take, that entire cost of that meal is considered to be an error. So it probably more information needs to be gleaned in terms of what the cost of these errors are. But we've done several things. One, we've provided a series of professional standards that will, I think, increase the professional standards of the folks at the cashier's table so that they will make fewer errors. Two, we've begun the process of data mining to determine where we might provide additional help and assistance in schools that are repeatedly having problems. Three, we are pressing community eligibility as well as direct certification because we know, for example, in the direct certification program, there's a significant decline in errors when the direct certification process is used. We are also looking at simplifying the application and providing an online application so that we reduce errors in that respect. We are also developing an Office of Integrity within the school lunch program, but we would have better results, I think, if we could receive permission from Congress to do more reviews of schools than we currently have. There is a limitation, and I think it's the only program of this kind where there is a limitation where we can only look at 3% of schools. If we had an opportunity to look at more than 3%, I think we would have greater accountability on all three areas. We are seeing a reduction in error rates on the aggregation side because we've been working with states. We still have work to do on the certification and the cashier side.
Gentlelady's time has expired. Mr. Grijalva.